The Andean condor is a giant South American cathotid vulture and is the only member of the genus Vulture. Found in the Andes Mountains and adjacent Pacific coasts of western South America, the Andean condor is the largest flying bird in the world by combined measurement of weight and wingspan. Andean condors are massive birds, among the largest in the world that are able to fly. Because they are so heavy, up to 33 pounds, even their enormous 10-foot wingspan needs some help to keep them aloft. For that reason, these birds prefer to live in windy areas where they can glide on air currents with little effort. Andean condors are found in mountainous regions, as their name suggests, but also live near coasts replete with ocean breezes and even deserts that feature strong thermal air currents. Characteristics: these condors are mostly black, but males have a distinctive white collar around their necks and some white markings on their wings as well. Like their relatives, the California condors, Andean condors have bald heads. Scavenging and diet: condors are vultures, so they keep their sharp eyes peeled for the carrion that makes up most of their diet. They prefer to feast on large animals, wild or domestic, and in picking the carcasses, they perform an important function as a natural clean-up crew. Along the coast, condors will feed on dead marine animals like seals or fish. These birds do not have sharp predators' claws, but they will raid birds' nests for eggs or even young hatchlings. Breeding and population: these long-lived birds have survived over 75 years in captivity, but they reproduce slowly. A mating pair produces only a single offspring every other year, and both parents must care for their young for a full year. The Andean condor is considered threatened but is in far better shape than its California cousin. Reintroduction programs are working to grow populations of these South American birds. Andean condors have the longest wingspan of any raptor. The Andean condor is the only New World vulture in which the males are visibly different than the females. The male has a large comb on his head that the females lack. The Andean condor has the honor of being the national bird of several South American countries including Bolivia, Chile, Colombia, and Ecuador. As its name suggests, the Andean condor inhabits much of the Andes mountain range along the Pacific coast region of western South America. It can be found from Colombia and northwestern Venezuela, all the way south to Tierra del Fuego. This large scavenger can be seen soaring over high montane canyons and peaks throughout the Andes or along the coast in the southern part of its range. It often soars over open grassland areas as it searches for food. What they do with the longest wingspan of any raptor: Andean condors are built for soaring and they do so effortlessly. Soaring makes it possible for them to fly for long periods of time without expending much energy. They only need to flap their wings occasionally, the rest of the time, they are floating on air. When you see a soaring condor, notice that the tips of its wings are pointing up. This helps with soaring by reducing drag or air resistance. People who design airplanes have used this same feature on some airplane wings. Adult Andean condors are unmistakable with their large black bodies, white neck ruff and featherless heads. Juveniles are grayish-brown with no white neck ruff. Of all the New World vultures, the Andean condor is the only one that shows sexual dimorphism, which means there is a visible difference in size and physical characteristics between the male and the female. The males are larger than the females and they have a comb on top of their heads, which the females lack. Male condors are born with this comb and each one is unique. Biologists take photos of the male condors and learn to identify individuals by the patterns of wrinkles on their combs and faces. Males have yellow eyes, while the females' eyes are red. At night, Andean condors all get together to sleep. They can be found in relatively large numbers, roosting on inaccessible cliffs and rocky outcrops. These areas are up high to help keep them safe from ground predators. If you are ever lucky enough to see an Andean condor, you may notice that they often perch with their wings outspread, sunning themselves. Condors, like many birds and even humans, enjoy the feel of the warm sun on their backs. Condors spread their wings to allow the most sunlight to reach as many of their feathers as possible. They sun to stay warm and to keep their feathers healthy. Like the California condor, the Andean condor poops on its own legs from time to time. Scientists believe that California condors do this to help them stay cool in warm weather. Temperatures in the Andes are much cooler, so scientists believe that certain properties in the uric acid help disinfect their legs to help keep them clean. Andean condors, like other vultures, are principally carrion eaters, which means they eat animals that are already dead. However, some people who live in condor habitat have reported that these large birds occasionally also talk newborn animals, such as cows and goats. Andean condors search for prey by soaring far and wide, using their keen eyesight to spot a meal. They are also attracted to large congregations of other raptors or scavengers, as this usually means that there is a feast to be had somewhere nearby. Andean condors generally feed on large carrion, such as the remains of deer, cow, sheep, and the like, though they will eat smaller animals when they can find them. Usually, several condors gather at a single carcass. When the carcass is large, they tend to feed mainly on soft body parts and viscera, which basically means the guts. Because of their large size, Andean condors are dominant over all other avian scavengers at a carcass. During courtship season, the male works hard to impress the female. He walks around with wings spread, making all kinds of unusual and interesting noises. When the time is right, the female lays one chalky white egg. Andean condors don't build their own nests. Instead, they lay the egg right on the substrate in a natural cavity in rock piles or in a cave high in cliff. The embryo inside the egg needs a long time to develop. The female must incubate the egg for almost 2 months, a few days longer than a harpy eagle must incubate her egg. Once the egg hatches, the chick grows quickly. The parents must work hard to bring it enough food so it will grow into a healthy bird. Condors can't carry food in their feet like most birds of prey. Instead, the adults store food for their young in their crop, a special pouch inside their throats, where food sits before it travels to the stomach to be digested. When the adult returns to the nest, it regurgitates, or throws up, this food, which the young chick happily eats. The chick remains in the nest 6-10 months until it is ready to fly, or fledge. It will stay with its parents for several more months learning how to find food and survive on its own. A juvenile, or young, condor is brownish in color. Condors become adults at 6 years of age. An adult pair usually produces only one chick every other year. This slow reproductive rate makes recovery of the species challenging.